up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we are talking about the Detroit Lions, and I'm super excited because it's almost Sunday. Let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here, and today we are discussing some Detroit Lions. My reactions to what Patricia had to say today in today's presser. Okay, I don't know. Is it called presser? Or am I saying that wrong the whole time? That's just how I say it. I don't know. There's interview, presser, media conference. I don't know. Presser. We'll go with presser. All right, so that's what we'll be looking at today, and also some of the injuries that were labeled for today. Now, before we get that started, let's go check out the board. As you guys can see, literally 2 days, guys. We're 2 days away from the Lions and Bears game. If you guys have not seen my preview / prediction, you should go check it out because you want to know what I predict, and then I want to hear your predictions in the comments below. And also, Thursday Night Football was yesterday. Did you watch the game? What were your thoughts? I'm sure a lot of you guys watched it because, hey, football is back. What were your thoughts about that game? I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire obviously had a great game. Kind of made me think a little bit of, I think it was Amir Abdullah who broke out really early when he was with the Detroit Lions, and we know that didn't end very well. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think he's going to be a very good running back. I mean, there's a reason he was the first round pick, or the first running back, I should say, off the draft board. And he seems to fit that offense very well, but they really do have that tailor-made to be great in that offense. And for the Houston Texans, man, that offensive line, yikes, that looked really suspect to me. That offensive line was rough. I know a lot of people bring up DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, that could be a big problem as well, but I think that offensive line really struggled. But David Johnson, he did pretty well for me on fantasy, so I'm happy. We'll probably recap those at the end of the week, our fantasy scores, because I have like 6 leagues, so I can just go through all of them. But now let's get into today's video, okay? So we got to hear from Patricia this morning. He touched on some of the injuries for today, and they also asked him a few questions. Some of these, you know, of course, he didn't really answer, but we got him anyways. So the first thing is the injuries. Obviously, Kenny Gallaudet. We have to ask about Kenny Gallaudet. He said Kenny Gallaudet for today is going to be out / very limited in practice. That's what he's assuming. He's going to get him dressed. He's going to see what he can do today, but he's assuming it's going to be very limited.
Correct. Yeah, he'll be out of practice. He'll be dressed, and we're going to see what he can do, but probably pretty limited.
Now, he was asked, hey, does that mean he's out for Sunday? No, that does not mean he's out for Sunday's game. He said these injuries right now, we are taking day to day. That's the current state of these injuries, but we're also being very cautious. He basically said we're being very cautious, and he said with these hamstring injuries, which we'll get to, like, you know, his studies and stuff that they did on that. With these guys with these hamstring injuries, if they're just tight at all, a little bit sore, they're playing it very safe and cautious, keeping them very limited because they don't want to make an injury that could be for 7 days, for 4 weeks, okay? They want to keep these things very limited. And if that means missing the first game of the season and doesn't mean you have to miss 4 weeks because, you know, you try to push through it, then that's what they'll do. So they're going to take this stuff very slow. I don't know if Kenny Gallaudet is going to play this weekend. I really don't. I mean, at first I thought he would. He may not play this weekend. The good thing is we have a lot of depth at the receiver position. We'll still have Marvin Jones Jr. out there. We have Quintez Cephas. We have the receivers to step up and play a big role. So I think we'll be fine. But I just don't know if he's going to play in week 1 against Chicago Bears. Obviously, we're hoping he does. Big V is still out, which really does stink. I think Big V is going to be a big part of this offense, so hopefully he can get back soon. But they're day-to-day, a lot of hamstring injuries for a lot of these guys. CJ Moore, Hunter Bryant, those players still remain out. Patricia did talk about why these hamstring injuries and, you know, these injuries that we're starting to see are all popping up. He said it's not really a coincidence. It's like studies that they've done. And basically, when it's a normal offseason, kind of the schedule that goes with it is you start to get these at different times. But now we have such a condensed version. We have such a condensed version of the offseason when it's training camp and everything kind of pushed together into basically 4 weeks. These are now starting to appear right before the season starts. So even though, you know, the NFL season starts Sunday, it's kind of still like you're in training camp mode just because of the amount of time you've been on the field. I'm going to let Patricia, you know, kind of explain it because I don't explain it that well. So I'll let him explain it. You guys can check out the clip.
It's like, and we see in the springtime as we get into OTAs and kind of that phase 2, that's where we really see the joint sort of stiffness and soreness. So a lot of the knees, the ankles, the hips, a lot of those type of injuries come up for us in the spring. And then as we progress toward training camp, that's when we start to see a little bit more of the soft tissue where we're really kind of amped up the speed and the long, you know, the length of maybe the plays and how far downfield and things like that, and the groin issues that maybe come with some of the defensive players with change of direction. And we're, you know, so that's like a normal year of kind of where the bodies are adapting to getting into football shape. What we've seen right now is kind of a condensed version of a spring and summer all in kind of, call it 4 weeks. Where we've initially got on the field and we saw a lot of the joints and some of those things that were bothering guys, and now we're kind of working into that training camp mode, even though I know the regular season's starting, but timeline of guys getting ready to go and prepare, where now it's a little bit more the soft tissue stuff. And then certainly the other one that we tracked, as we talked about maybe a couple weeks ago, I can't remember, but just with 2011, some of the impact injuries that we saw, maybe that were non-contact and that were more tendon related. So whether it was the bigger tendons in the muscles, the quad tendons, the Achilles tendons, things like that. And we saw those kind of explosive movement tendons that were more of the injury prone type of injuries. So we're seeing kind of a condensed version right now. I would say the one thing that we're trying to do, and really why you'll see it on the injury report a lot, is we're trying to prevent them from being what I would call long-term.
Okay, so hopefully that made sense. I know I didn't make too much sense of what I was talking about, but that's what he means about the whole injury situation. So hopefully Galladay's okay, and yeah, I'm completely with him, man. Don't push him through it. It's literally week 1, all right? And I think the Bears are a team that we can afford to not have a receiver, okay? We still have Martin, we still have a lot of depth there, but we need to make sure these guys are healthy for the long term, and that's what he brought up. Then he was asked about the playoffs. Now, we know he's not going to answer this. Like, what is he going to say? Yeah, we're making the play. Like, he ain't going to answer this. Matt Patricia said this is a very, very difficult question to answer. He really didn't give us an answer here about the playoffs, and I'm not surprised. He did say, though, they look at things in quarters, right, the 4 games, and then you evaluate those 4 games. You try to get better for the next 4 games. And last season, that's kind of what we did in our first 4 games last season. We were pretty darn good. I mean, honestly, our first 8 games, we were pretty darn solid. We could have won 6 or 7 of those games. We know they just really, really went one way or the other, like down to the last play. I mean, the Chiefs game came down to a play. The Raiders game came down to the last play. The Packers game was whack. All right, so there was a lot of really, kind of coin toss type of games. But he does say that the first month of football is probably going to be pretty ugly. This is usually how it does look, but now with the shortened offseason, he's really expecting it to be kind of ugly. He's very concerned about fundamentals, especially tackling. He didn't really pay too much attention to the Kansas City Chiefs game and Texans game last night, but he did say there was a few interesting tackles. So, that's something that the Lions are definitely focused on, is the fundamentals heading into week 1. It could be a little bit of sloppy play early in the year because, usually this does happen. But now even with a shorter offseason and less time on the field, very sloppy first couple of games. But hopefully that just means the Detroit Lions are going to get the win here. I don't care how sloppy it looks. I don't care how ugly it is. As long as we beat the Chicago Bears, I'm going to be happy, okay? As long as we're winning football games, I'm going to be happy. Asked about the NFC North, and he said, yeah, he basically feels a lot more comfortable in the North. Kind of, you get to know everybody, all the coaches from other teams, their quarterbacks, things like that. Like, sure, you knew who they were, but you really get to know the details and everything about those people. And then we named our team captains today. Those team captains are Matthew Stafford, Trey Flowers, Jared Davis, Taylor Decker, Duron Harmon, and Don Muhlbach. Matthew Stafford doesn't surprise me. The dude's always a captain because, he's the best player on the team, and he's also the captain of the offense, especially this season. Trey Flowers, I like that. Trey Flowers, man. Trey Flowers is a beast defensively. Maybe our best defensive player. Jared Davis, this has been always a leader for the Lions defense, and that's what Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn love about him. He is a leader. He may not be perfect, but he is a leader, and that is what the Lions really like about him. Taylor Decker, guy just got an extension. Taylor Decker just got paid, and it seems like the offensive linemen are really kind of going to him. I mean, he's kind of the leader on that offensive line. Now, it's a pretty young offensive line for the most part, and Taylor Decker seems to be kind of, that guy on the offensive line. Duron Harmon, I mean, he literally just got here. You just traded for Duron Harmon this offseason, and he's your captain. Going into week 1, this is your team captain. That is awesome, and that's what he brings to the back end. That's what we've brought in a lot of veterans for, so I think that just kind of illustrates how big of a move that actually was. And then Don Muhlbach, obviously the legend himself, Don Muhlbach. Really all we got from today's takeaways. I don't know how serious these injuries are. I'm hoping they're not too serious. If Kenny Gallaudet can't go, expect to see some Quintez Cephas, which honestly would be kind of cool. Obviously, we want to see Kenny Gallaudet, but expect to see some Quintez Cephas, maybe a little bit more Jamal Agnew, Marvin Hall. But man, I mean, you can just tell we got the depth. We have the guys to still go out there and ball out in the passing game. It would be nice, though, to see Kenny Gallaudet and Marvin week 1. It really would. Man. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, man. What do you guys think? Go check out my prediction video. Let me know your predictions in the comments of that video. Thank you for watching, and I'm out. Look at all these cool people. Look at all these cool Hall of Fame, All-Pro, and patrons. You guys are so awesome. Look how interesting. That's an interesting name. I've never seen one like that. I'm not saying that one out loud. We got some cool stuff here, man. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys want to be part of this? Click the join button. I appreciate you guys. Look, man, you guys are cool, man. I see you. Oh, I see you're not sneak. I see you down there, my boy.